I taught high school for about 5 years before I went into higher education, and then I've been teaching in higher ed now for, calculating quickly, 23 years. Started out as a theater major, and then I had a professor, Barnett Pierce, who taught a course called Communication and the Human Condition, and it blew my mind. It opened up a whole new world of understanding. The concept of the social construction of reality was at the center of it, and I was hooked from that moment. Areas that I focus on: mediation, conflict analysis and resolution, and my research is on theater as a form of rehabilitation for prison inmates. So it's a 12-credit certificate that I developed way back in 1996, shortly after I got here, because it attracts a lot of students, and we got a lot of good feedback from alumni about how it's helped them in their careers. I guess the most rewarding thing is working with students, and I'm constantly surprised by them, and I learn a lot from them all the time, constantly challenged by them. So that's really the most wonderful part of it. Just get people excited and curious about the idea that understanding communication more deeply can really change their lives. I mean, if you can get excited about that, your whole world changes, I think. Projects. Yeah, the big one would be the Shakespeare project at Racine Correctional Institution, and theater as a way to explore everyday struggles and to look for better ways to respond to them. And I brought that into the prison, and the inmates really responded to that. Then it became the Shakespeare Project in 2004, when I wanted to try staging a full Shakespeare play with them, because I have run a lot of marathons. I don't know if I have any more left in me. I might. But the big one was the Boston Marathon, which was my dream to run that one. It was a lifelong dream, because that's the marathon. And so it came about because we made a presentation in Chicago at Chicago Shakespeare on Shakespeare and the criminal justice system, and one of the graduates from my program, Hyson Williams, made quite an impression there. He was part of an international panel, and he spoke. He read some of his poetry. He really moved the audience, and there was somebody in that audience that day who happened to be director of a family foundation, and contacted me and said they wanted to help the Shakespeare Project. So I always have to go back to my own love for Shakespeare, which is really at the core of it. It goes all the way back. But I did have this job, this internship as a high school English teacher, and the man that I worked with happened to be a Shakespeare nut, and it was his passion for Shakespeare and his understanding of Shakespeare that completely immersed me, engaged me. And so that in 2004, I made the connection with the prison when I met Agnes Wilcox, who founded Prison Performing Arts in St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I knew that I could do this and that I really wanted to do this. So thank you for asking. 2 international experiences. One was as an undergraduate student. I did my junior year abroad, the whole year at Froebel Institute College in London, which was wonderful. The other big one was I lived for 2 years in Jamaica, West Indies, and taught high school there. And fantastic. What a great department we have. Because a lot of prison is very isolating, and the ability to have some kind of constructive social practice where you exercise your communication skills, you focus on a project, you do something constructive, I think is really important. And it certainly was helpful to him. And so he talks about that. And I think he's a wonderful example of the kind of success that we hope all of the inmates will achieve as a result of the program.